Let's go.
Welcome to the season premiere of DrWhitty Today. Today's focus: better brother, better father, better husband, better friend. We're excited to welcome today's guest, Charles Duke Tanner, hailing from Gary, Indiana, began his boxing journey at the tender age of 6. Under the mentorship of the legendary William Murphy and the guidance of Angelo Dundee, who famously trained Muhammad Ali, Tanner honed his boxing skills. His dedication and talent led him to win a bronze medal at the 1996 Junior Olympic World Games. With a promising career and an undefeated 19-0 record, Tanner's life took a dramatic turn when he became involved in a nonviolent drug conspiracy. As a 24-year-old first-time offender, he was arrested, tried, and sentenced to double life in prison in 2004. However, his sentence was later reduced to 30 years, and he served 16 years before gaining his freedom. Today, Duke leverages his platform to inspire and empower young children, advocate for fatherhood, promote criminal justice reform, and foster unity through the Duke Tanner Foundation. He shares the story of redemption and faith, reaching thousands of Americans in churches nationwide and tens of thousands more through TV interviews, podcasts, and his new book, Duke Got Life. Listeners and viewers here and at home, please welcome our host, Dr. Whitty.
All right. Welcome to the season premiere of DrWhitty Today. I hope that everybody had a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And we are about to get this one started off with Mr. Charles Duke Tanner. Welcome to the platform. We are going to talk about him tonight. A boxer's fight for freedom and one last shot at redemption. How we feeling tonight, Mr. Tanner?
Man, I'm blessed, man. Like you said, man, Merry Christmas. Happy New Year to everybody. I'm going to give all my praise and glory to God like always, because without him, I wouldn't be here today. So I'm feeling great.
All right. This is exciting. I've been waiting for this one for a long time. I tried to see if I could see some of those boxing matches, but I didn't get to see any. So I guess it's because it was such a long time ago. But I don't know. Maybe you got some film circulating out there I don't know about.
All right. It's a couple of things on YouTube, but not that much. I got a couple personal tapes or whatnot, but that's it. That's about it.
Okay. All right. I hope you like my referee shirt. I wore this one special for this episode.
I see, man. It's been a long time, over 20 plus years since I saw one of those shirts standing between me and another guy.
Yeah, that's all right. Well, we're not going to take too long. We're going to make sure we get right to it. So I want you to describe your journey for us. You know, how did you go from Duke Got Next to Duke Got Life? So we'll start there.
Oh man, I come up from Gary in the 1980s, through the crack epidemic, the murder capital of the world, which Gary, Indiana was at one point in time. And I was trying to use boxing to take my family out of that. And the whole city was bagging me. Like you said earlier, I had 96 amateur fights, only lost 10 of them. I won multiple tournaments as a kid, as a teenager. I turned pro right out of high school because, I wanted to stop fighting. I had to stop fighting for trophies and medals and start trying to, get some money into my pocket, not only for myself, but also my family. Things wasn't moving as fast enough. So, I didn't have no bank there. I didn't know about going to no bank and getting a loan and things of that nature. So, my bank alone was to the streets. And I broke the law, and I was willing to accept my responsibility for everything I had done. I had created myself a record of 19-0 as a professional fighter at the time with 11 knockouts, and I had just fought on Tuesday night fights in 2003. I had just had my first son and everything, and he was actually 2 years old on the day that I got arrested for a nonviolent drug crime, which no real drugs was confiscated, no large sums of money was confiscated. Actually, the guy that I worked for, my boss, Urbe Solis, he was the guy who had got into trouble, and he brought me in as well. So, you know, the nature of the case was for me to do the same thing that um, my so-called boss did, and I wanted to accept the responsibility for what I done because I refused to go on and take the shortcut. I already was taking a shortcut by going into the street, so I really refused it to go in there and lie on other people to save myself. And the system that we live in, they didn't like that, so I was I was forced to trial, and I was given a double life sentence for a nonviolent drug crime, my first arrest of my life, and life in federal prison means a death sentence. And I was sent off to a maximum security prison, USP Terre Haute, Indiana, where I did almost 10 years behind the wall. I was sent to another USP called McQuarrie, but when I got there, I refused to just be a picture on the wall or a voice behind a telephone to my son. You know, like I said, he was 2 years old when I got incarcerated. And I went through all those slumps, but during those times and fighting the case, I felt like I developed a real relationship with God. I knew who God was, but I didn't really know how to pray. I didn't really know. I knew to read the Bible, but I learned how to study it. I learned how to try to use myself as some of the characters in the Bible to get that extra strength and that faith. And I use that, and I use it inside the institutions. And anyone who know the federal system, and I'm pretty sure the state system or anything, it's a whole nother world in there. Um, it's a whole nother structure. You got different leadership, you got all of these things inside of this place. It's not like on TV. My first day is walking down Terre Haute, we got our bed rolling. People walking up to you like if you cooperated, if you a sex offender, if you a rapist, if you this and that, you better turn around now to where that same night a guy was murdered who I cooperated on the case or whatnot. So with that being said, that was the new world I was living in. And I was I wasn't gonna go out like that. So, I continued to pray. I was actually put into leadership because I guess the people liked the character that I had. It was God favor showing over me or whatever it may be, and I use that to lead the other young men and older men to try to be more positive, try to look outside of this, and they will look at my situation and it would draw them to me like, you just fought on TV. Some of the people I just saw me fight on TV, and now I'm there with a life sentence, and everything's just gone away, and I'm around there smiling, helping people out still, not being the Grinch or whatnot. So that what people ask me all the time, how did you do it? And that's when I will be able to say, man, it's the God that's in me, brother. It's like, you only gonna go as far as you believe in. And my faith is bigger than the mustard seed. I'm not dying in here. And that led me on to where I was denied all my appeals. Um, the Obama administration came before he left in 2012 to 2016. They was letting out clemencies for nonviolent drug offenders. I fit every prong on top of no real drugs was confiscated from me. No large sum of money, no firearms, even though I was charged with all these things in the conspiracy. But that's the word, the conspiracy. And I was made the leader of the case. And if you go on public record, the indictment started in January 1992. In January 1992, I was 12 years old. So I put together a conspiracy that it took them 11 years to break. I must have been like a Einstein debate, the way the judge said it. But to him there, I was denied all of it, and I wasn't granted clemency by the Obama administration. So basically, I was set to die in prison. Um, but I didn't let that break me. It actually made my faith a little stronger, and um, it just pushed me to want to come home more. And I believe I wrote the White House once a month, like clockwork on a Monday, the first Monday of the month. I always wrote the White House. I had a dream that President Trump was going to let me out. And on October 21st, 2020, I was woke up out my bed at count time, I was told to go in the back with the officers. An hour later, I was inside of a hotel, a free man, um, waiting to be able to go to the airport to meet my who was now 19-year-old son. Because before I got my relief, I did 16 months, 16 years, 6 months, and 21 days before I was released. And it was an incredible feeling. As soon as my feet hit the ground, I told people, we're going to go out to fatherhood. We're going to go out to second chance. We're going to draw a real impact of my story, because I had to go through that for a reason. And by the grace of God, I met some great people, so many people I can't name, so many advocates fought for me throughout the times. But, just to name a few, Brittany Burnett was the first one to jump on board with me, who helped got released over 30 something people with life sentences. Alice Marie Johnson, Amy Pova, Weldon Angelos, all those guys fought for me. And when I got home, I told them, I'm gonna make a difference. I'm gonna show what the impact is. By the grace of God, I was able to meet Jack Brewer, former NFL player, who wanted to hear me talk about second chance because he had heard about me from inside the prison to a video that was released to me from when I got released, of me seeing my son, hugging him outside of the prison wall for the first time. It went viral and everybody wanted to talk to me. So with that being said, I was able to go speak at an event for him, and it opened the door to where I was able to even speak at Liberty University to over 30 different CEOs and millionaires. And I got the chance to meet Julio Gonzalez, who's actually a billionaire, the CEO of Engineer Tax Services, who 2 years after my release gave me a job and said, you don't deserve to have to not worry about who's going to hire you and who's not going to hire you. You need to be an entrepreneur. You need to be this, you need to be that. And as of right now, you are a community developer for Engineer Tax Services. And we just, by the grace of God, I was able to get lucky and found a wife. I just got married. My son was my best man. And me and my wife just opened up a tax company called CDT Financial Services, where we're able to do personal and business taxes with the great mentorship from Julio and some of the best software by Macy at Complete Tax Services. And we're just trying to help do this thing to change it. And I'm all about impact. I put together a group with another guy that was incarcerated and some good men that was into real estate, to where we created Legacy Impact Group. And we're working on $100 million fund right now to do 300 affordable houses for men and women that's has been incarcerated. But on top of, we're doing vets, people with mental health, people that just have been having hard times. I believe that's what I had to go sit down for, and that's what I'm coming back to show true impact for. And that's just a little bit of what I got going on. You could get some more of it in this book that I wrote right here called Duke Got Life. Um, it was wrote fast, but you're not gonna want to put it down. It's on Amazon now. It's called Duke Got Life. It's $20.20, because 2020 was the year that I got out. And it's all about impact. It's all about giving back. That's what I was born to do.
All right, that's awesome. Awesome and a fantastic story. I'm glad that you're sharing it here, not only on this platform, but on platforms all over the world. As you were talking, I was just thinking about some of the things that stuck out to me in the book. And I remember reading, you mentioned when they first came and got you and woke you up and told you to follow them. And I remember when I think you said that you took off your stuff because you was getting ready, and somebody had to tell you to calm down because you thought that they might be getting ready to do something to you or take you somewhere. So I'm not sure what you actually thought, but I figured you didn't think you were going home. You thought something else was up and they had to calm you down. And then another thing that stuck out was when you were talking about, I guess your mom had taken ill or whatever, and you said that you ended up with your brother, and shortly after you made that phone call to tell her that you guys were together, you said shortly after that she had passed away. And those two things stuck out to me as you were going through your experience. And so I just want you to talk a little bit about those two different points.
Okay. Well, I'll touch the situation with my mom first. My dad passed in 2014. Um, my mom was holding on. She had strokes, multiple strokes. And I had filed a motion, one of the first motions that we actually was able to get some rhythm from with me and Brittany, to where they had brought out a new amendment for, it's called a drug -2. So anybody who had a drug case, you can get your levels dropped 2 points. By me being a first time offender, I fitted it 100%, but we didn't know. So I'm sitting there one day and I end up, they calling me and say, hey, you got to go pack up your transfer. They send me to another prison. I stay there for a little bit. They like, oh, matter of fact, hey, the life sentence off, you got 30 years now. So I'm like, what? So then they send me to another prison. All of this is happening back to back. Next thing I know, I'm with one of my brothers who was on the case with me. And, um, it was my first time seeing him since 2004. This was like 2017, I believe. And I was able to see my mom, and I was able to call her and say, hey, listen, me and your firstborn, my oldest brother Lamont, I said, I'm standing right here with him. And I believe that that's what she was waiting for us to be back together and to lock up, and for me to say that, that, to knowing for a fact that someone else saw me and knowing that I was okay, because I'm the baby boy. So with that being said, it was just it was a sad experience, but it was also great because, like, she didn't have to suffer no more and have to go through the things that she was going through. And the situation with me getting out, when they called me, based on the things I've been through in prison, when they call you in the back, normally it's finna be a strip search. They could come and get you at any given moment and tell you, hey, take your clothes out, turn around, squat, cough. I mean, total disrespectful, but this is a part of the prison system, for certain different reasons, that things that happen or whatnot, from people having contraband and things of that nature. So I thought that's what going to the back was about. So I followed routine. As soon as I went there, I took off my shirt. So as I'm taking my shirt off, the case manager saying, wait, hold up, dude, calm down. We got something to tell you. We gotta get you out of here. So I'm like, what you mean? Get me out of here. You know where I'm going. And they were just like, man, listen, man, the president signed off on your petition today. And they granted you clemency, but they didn't give us the paperwork till late. So that's why we had locked the prison down, and we had to come and pull you out and get you out of here immediately. Man, I was trying to cry. I couldn't even cry. I'm just like sweating and praying, and all the time the phone ring. And when the phone ring, he passed me the phone. It's my son, and my son like, Pops, we headed to the airport now to come and pick you up. And it was just it was an amazing feeling. And I mean, like I said, I still can't describe it. Like, I was just sweating like somebody had. By the time I made it to the R&D to pack out, I had to change clothes. My shirt was soaking wet.
Wow. Wow. That, like you said, it's a totally different system. And you were able to navigate it, and by the grace of God,
Oh yeah,
by the
100%.
grace of God, you were able to navigate it. And your story. I know it's already touched a lot of people's lives, but it's not finished. So
Right.
I look forward to hearing more about all of the things that you do, even going forward here. You talked about when you were younger and you were boxing and you were winning your matches. You talked about feeling the pressure of putting your city back on the map, or just being able to take care of your house, the folks in your household. How did that make you feel as a young teenager, having to feel like you had to take care of everybody or be responsible for putting your neighborhood or city back on the map?
it didn't really bother me. It was more like I felt like that's what I was born to do. So I had favor. So, whenever to some people, I feel like if you're doing something and it's not for you to do in life, and really now as a man, like, and as a grown man and believe in God, to where like he's gonna align you where you're supposed to be at. Like, yeah, we might not be, we gotta work this job, this, that, and the other for right now, but soonly we align and we get to where we're supposed to be or whatever, to where like, yeah, it was rough. It was a lot of pressure, but the pressure gave me a lot of discipline. The pressure gave me a lot of dedication, determination as well. And it was just teaching me like I'm not just doing this for me. It helped me to be like, if I don't win, they don't win. Could I have done some things different? Of course. The shortcut that I came when I went to the streets was a part of it, because I was starting to fight and I made promises to people and I wanted to stand on my word. I wanted to be able to take my mother to Vegas. I wanted to be able to buy her a big house. I wanted to be able to buy my dad a brand new car. I wanted to be able to make sure my dad never used drugs no more. I wanted my sisters and brothers to be all right. I wanted to open businesses up in the city of Gary and give things back to the community. But without money, you couldn't do that. And like I said, I wasn't brought up in an era where guys that look like me, could just go to the bank and rather knew that we could just go to the bank and say, hey, what's up with my credit? Can I get this loan for now? Can I get this or borrow this and pay it back later? The street guys was the bank. Hey, go do this and go do that. That's the era we came up in. So with that being said, I wanted to get that respect on the boxing level and on the business side as well. So when I used to think about some of the times that we struggled and went without or didn't have, or some of my friends went without and didn't have, or just the pressure of my parents and the things that I seen them overcome, it will make me fight harder. It will make me sacrifice more and be willing to take it that extra mile.
Thank you. You talked about in your book briefly as well about your parents and how they struggled with drugs. And I remember one specific time you talked about how it felt when you actually saw your father with some drug paraphernalia, and you were talking about the difference between just knowing it and actually seeing it. And so I just want to say, as a teenager, how did that impact you growing up?
And seeing any, I believe seeing anything is different than knowing it. Like, can you imagine seeing someone that you love do something, then hearing about it? And as a teenager, but that's what gave me the kick even more to say, hey, listen, man, you got to stop. Please stop. I'm going to take us here. I'm going to get us out of this. Just show me you strong like me. And I watched my daddy quit cold turkey, no help, no nothing. Going to the gym with me every day. And I made a promise. I said I'm turning pro right after high school. I had just came back from seeing Angelo Dundee. Um, I was set to maybe be on the 2020, on the 2000 Olympic team, but we ain't finna fight for no trophies no more now. Now we finna turn professional. I'm finna become world champion. And I'm gonna be able to do the same things that I'm doing right now, that I came home after a double life sentence doing, to where when we opened up the tax company, the agents is what I'm gonna call them, because they're gonna be future owners of their own taxes, is family. Most of the people that's on there working and got the certificates to go to do these taxes now, most of them last name is Tanner. So therefore, this is a family affair that we're gonna give back with and still go back to. And I use that energy from what I saw that day to know that things can change for the better. And I use that negative for positive, and I will use it for the rest of my life.
All right. Thank you. Thank you also for your involvement in just the that prison system, and advocating for better services, reentry services, because you already know when people get out, they face a lot of challenges. So, and like you said, that one person told you, you shouldn't have to, wonder where you're going to work, wonder where you're going to eat. But after you do time, everybody that does time seem to come out and have to serve it all over again because they can't find a job, they can't find housing, you name it. So I'm glad that you're involved in the fight. So I just want to say thank you for that.
Yeah, no problem.
Some of the experiences that you had when you were incarcerated, I remember reading when you talked about first showing up at USP. That's correct, right? USP Terre
Yes,
Haute.
yes.
And you write in your book that it was like spirits entering your body. And so I just want you to elaborate on that.
Oh man, listen, like it's a bus ride you'll never forget. Um, I mean, most USPs probably got a medium on the complex as well as a camp, or at least they got a camp and a medium. So, but when you go into that tunnel inside that garage, because the USP boxed in, you don't see the outside, you don't see trees, you don't see anything. When you're going inside that tunnel, I mean, literally, man, you felt like different people and different things was going through your body. Like, I mean, that's the best way I could describe it. And I said, okay, well, maybe this just happened to Terra Hut. When I went to the other one, it did to the same thing. Then when I went to the camp, man, I went to not the camp. When I went to my levels dropped, and I went to another prison, we had to drive through a USP though. They dropped the guys off at the USP first. Had the same feeling again. And it's just like I'm telling you, like different people was in like coming through you, and like you getting different signs. Like it's all those spirits of death and just things in there, probably from all the wrong that's been done behind that wall. And a lot of people, man, it's so many other good men back there and good women behind those walls that's going through these things that shouldn't be there, that's just getting that trauma. Cause it was trauma for real. Like if I believe you don't have a relationship with God, man, like it's gonna be hard to straighten up behind certain things that you see back there and feel.
All right. All right. That is, I guess we would say that's probably a bus ride that most of us don't want to take.
You don't want to take a chance. Believe me.
All right. One more about that, about being in. You also talk about a time when you were, I guess you had gotten a bed or whatever, and you said you wanted to get out to the yard, and you said that you had no problem really running up the steps, but then when you came back to go down the steps, you were kind of taken aback. So
Yeah.
talk about that experience.
Because when I first got incarcerated, I was put inside I was put inside, the county jail. They didn't hold me in a real federal holding. These just the games that they play and how that they try to break you or whatnot. So basically, I was in a unit like basically a supermax, maybe 6 units, this, that, and that. There weren't that many people in there. So where I was at, it wasn't, if you didn't have a cell on the top range for a little while, you're not allowed up there. So basically, I always been on the first range. So therefore, I didn't go upstairs. It took 2.5 years to go to trial. And then once I went to trial, it took them like another 2 years to sentence me because my judge got his legs amputated and he would not give my case up. So he came back and sentenced me like his first week out of the hospital. You could still see the blood on the bandage, on the gauze when they rolled them out when he came out. So this guy, for all type of, imagine what type of pain meds, he just got both his legs amputated. He was a diabetic. So I sat almost 5 years before I went to a prison. So when I got to Terre Hut, I was able to come up the stairs, but I hadn't went down those stairs. It freaked me out. So I'm like, I gotta hold on to the side of the rail. But it's like also embarrassing. You're in the USP. You act like you scared to come downstairs. I don't know um how to explain it, but I could just imagine not walking for so long. You got to learn how to walk again, and it took me a while before I could run up and down the stairs. And even to this day, I just don't feel comfortable running in the middle down the stairs. I always kind of stick to the side to where if I need to touch the rail halfway through, I touch the rail and come on down. So that's all it was. From not being going up and down those stairs for so long, you have to learn how to do it all over again.
All right. All right. All right. What we're going to do now is we're going to take a break for a second. But when we come back, we're going to talk about this leadership, because you talk about in your book how you were, in a sense, kind of thrusted into leadership roles. And one may not think, hey, you know, I've got my leadership role from being incarcerated, and that it taught me a lot of things. So we're going to talk about that when we come back. So viewers and listeners out there, please stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after a brief commercial.
Presented by Dr. Timothy Felton and Teron Coleman, Black Boys Matter explore the vital role of parental presence in raising Black sons. As Black boys navigate persistent obstacles and challenges, fostering authentic, trusting, and nurturing relationships through positive engagement becomes crucial. Each chapter of this profound manuscript leaves readers with greater understanding and deliberate techniques for addressing the issues these young men face. Get your copy wherever books are sold. Duke Got Life is a powerful testament to the strength of the human spirit and the enduring quest for justice. At just 20 years old, professional boxer Charles Duke Tanner had the world at his feet with an undefeated record of 19-0. However, faced with the harsh reality of providing for his family, Duke took a devastating detour into drug dealing, leading to his conviction for a nonviolent drug crime and sentence of 2 life terms. What followed was a grueling 16-year battle against a seemingly unbeatable justice system, culminating in a turn of fate when Duke was granted his clemency petition and set free. Now, Duke travels the country sharing his incredible journey of resilience and transformation. His story is not just about overcoming personal adversity, but also about igniting a movement for prison reform. Through his relentless fight, he inspires others to never give up, no matter how daunting the odds. You can find your copy everywhere books are sold.
Sorry about that. I was on mute. I got my copy right here. I don't know if you can see it, but there it is, Duke Got Life. It's an excellent book. We're also going to be giving away 2 of these in just a moment. So if you're out there and you want a copy, you want to stay tuned so you can make sure you get the information to get a signed copy of Duke Got Life from Duke Tanner. All right. So Duke, you talked about your leadership experience. Your leadership experience and your leadership roles while you are an adult in custody. So I want you to talk about that briefly, but first I want your thoughts. Do you think a leader is made or a leader is born?
I'm gonna say both, because you know, to be a good leader, you have to be a follower at one point. So that's the born part. But I don't think that you could just create a leader today. Like, I'm gonna just make this guy one. It gotta be both. I think people get it confused. But you're gonna see the leadership potential in the person. You really just gonna be not really made, but sharpen up. You know, they gonna sharpen you up to where you be there, like, you know, to where you on point and you learn different things, because you're being a leader, and you could be a leader in different ways. Like, you know, people probably looking like, a leader in prison. Like, what does that mean? That means a whole lot. You're saving people's lives to where you're able to stop things and get things done to where people are not, you know, being murdered. Me on the maximum level. Then you got leaders that's in the world today. You got leaders that's in different jobs. You got, you know, so it's different ways to look at it. But to me, I say both, because you got to have it in you. You was born with it. It's just getting sharpened up. So that's how I answer that question.
All right, thanks. I'm thinking of, it'll come back to me in a minute. I had a specific question I wanted to ask you, and it just slipped my mind. But before we go to the next question, um, do you regret making that decision to go to the streets?
I mean, 100% I regret it. I was taken away from my only child for almost 17 plus years. I lost my boxing career. I wasn't there when my parents really needed me, as well as some of my siblings, to where when they needed me the most, I was in behind a wall fighting for my life. So, um, of course, if I could take it back, I would go another route. I would continue to fight, and I would have had did things just on on a smaller level and just just holding the weight a little bit and struggle with me. But I will not never want no one to feel sorry for what I went through. I don't believe in having no one have a pity for me for what I went through. I don't believe that it wasn't designed for me to go through it that way no more now. I'm not upset with anybody. Um but I'm not, and I'm never gonna not accept my responsibility for what I did. I I knew I broke the law, and that's why I'm so passionate about these communities, because at one point in time I was a guy that was putting drugs in the communities that was destroying them. And you might say, well, yeah, how was you destroying it? It was the person's choice. But it wasn't that person's child choice to where that person had a disease and they was hooked on the drugs, but they went and bought drugs with the money that they worked for and didn't get groceries. So that kid at home suffered for it, and or kids suffer for it. So with that being said, now double life sentence, I never understand that. But prison, I deserve. So we went through it, but it was designed for me to go through what I went through, and I believe that God had something bigger and better for me, and we just getting started with it right now.
When I read about, excuse me, your leadership experiences, you talked about it during your teenage years, but you also talked about it while you were incarcerated. You talked about how because you were a boxer and because you had certain relationships, it allowed you to go in areas where other people couldn't go. It allowed you to be able to maneuver because of your leadership, your impact, your relationships. And then the same thing happened when you were incarcerated. And so I want you to talk a little bit about that experience of how you seem to just, I don't know. I don't want to use the term fall into leadership roles, but it's like you said, people saw the potential. And so you found yourself in leadership roles, even if you didn't want to be in it. So talk about that.
100%. Like even in the streets before we went away, even from a kid, Gary, a small city, but at the time of my teenage years, we was the murder capital of the world. And it was like, it's only so many blocks, so everybody really right there together. But if you didn't stay over here, you don't supposed to go over there. If you didn't stay over here, you're supposed to go over there. And it was like neighborhood things, and it wasn't more structure like Chicago has structure with the GDs and the vice lords and things of that nature. It was like we had that in our city, but it wasn't the structure. It was more neighborhood things and the leaders that we had that knew how to lead the best way that they knew how. And with me though, and with boxing, it was more like on fight night, everybody came together. And once I turned professional, I mean, you'll have guys from different neighborhoods might be sitting right across from each other, having no problems. They enjoying. They want Duke Tanner to make it. You know what I mean? And then you might see them next day. They in the shootout with each other. The same people right there. So it was more respect than anything. And then it fell into the same thing within prison. It was more the love I think that I was able to get from people, as well as the love that I gave back and the loyalty to where people felt like if there's something going on, do gonna do it in the best interest for us as a whole. He not gonna think about himself. And in prison, that means a whole lot because of so many people abuse the authority, and that's something that's bad, and that's a lot of reasons why I feel like we go through a lot of things right now today. Guys in my generation, we kind of dropped the ball, not taking nothing from the next generation and these younger people, but that was the leadership that they had. So why should they listen to me or listen to this guy? We left them. We left them to have to deal with these guys that was out here that wasn't real leaders, and they led them the wrong way, and that's why when I talk to them, I hear what they got to say first, and I try to find out who's their leader, and then that's the one I try to talk to the most and really get into his ear because it's his job to go back and lead his people and to help develop his people to become leaders.
Thank you. I thought it was interesting too when you talked about your transfer from one prison to another, and you just talked about how when you got there, you basically was in another leadership role. Like, and then you talked about how the previous established leadership, didn't necessarily agree, but it really wasn't up to them.
No, it really wasn't because when you are a part of a certain group of people, they get to pick who their leader is, and like you said, I wanted to stand down because I know what come with leadership. But I had talked to my pastor and I said, man, listen, I actually I just had this conversation the other day with the guy who I brought my pastor, let him rest in peace, Pastor Shelby. I said, man, they want me to do this and this and that. Man, they killing people here. He said, man, God know where you at. And he said, just don't abuse your authority. He gave me scripture that showed it. Um, and before I ever made a decision, I always prayed about it. And I always really gave the guys the benefit of the doubt. And I'm going all the way for them. And I didn't want them to fear me. I wanted them to love me and to respect me. And therefore, that's the difference. And one of the main things, one of the elders taught me, he said, leader got to always make a decision. He said, not making a decision is worse than making the wrong decision. So he said, Duke, you got to always be prepared to make a decision. And we don't move off emotions. And that carried me a long way. He said, your character take care of the rest of it. Do what you can do, and let God do what you can.
All right. Speaking of character, you probably can't see it in the book, but in the book, you were talking about, it says, my boxing talent gave me a free pass to go anywhere. And then you talked a lot about character. So I wrote on the side, your gift made room for you and your character kept you there.
100%.
So I thought that was awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So you talk about building relationships as a superpower of yours. So just comment on that briefly.
Relationships is everything in life. Um, to be honest, with our relationships, you know, how do you have anything? Like nowadays, it ain't about even what you got no more. It's about who you know. And 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 it, and I think it could be a great thing if it's used right. Because once again, your character gonna get you there. If you're doing the right thing, somebody gonna remember you. Say, "Hey, oh, he talking about dude from over there. Oh man, he's a great dude. Let's go talk to him. Let's go do this. Let's go do that." And in this world, and if we're really trying to draw impact, we want to use relationships. We want to use good relationships to where we can help the people, because America is the land of the giving, man. It's the land of the living. So therefore, we got to give back, and that's the impact that I'm gonna continue to say. That's what real impact is. We seeing it. We're seeing the vets being taken care of. We're seeing mental health being treated better. We're seeing people coming home from prison getting treated better, being able to get jobs. They did their time. They paid their debt to society. And now they're being better parents. They're being better fathers, brothers, sisters, the whole shebang. That's what it's about. But we got to lead by example. We got to show them. And if we got a relationship, then therefore I remember I always like to think he's a good guy. He did all the things right. He really wanted to come on. Bam. He need to be living over here. He need to be this. That's where the relationship will come in. And the same
All
thing,
right.
like you said, a guy from the army. Oh man, him what we did. We trained at this time, or we did this over here. Get him over here. He need help. That brother saw some bad things. Let's help him. Why he's a vet and he ain't got no insurance? You know, like we got to stand up for those things.
All right. On relationships, awesome. Um, one of my supervisors added to that one day when I was talking to him, and he said it's all about who you know, but it's also all about who knows you. That sometimes you can know people, but if they don't know you, it's hard to establish that connection. So yeah, building relationships is all about, because after all, we can't do anything without building relationships. It's all about working together to accomplish whatever goal that we're trying to achieve. So we can't do anything by ourselves. We have to, as they say in the old days, stand on the shoulders of those who came before us. And then someday somebody will be standing on our shoulders. So great. So before we go to the next question, we're going to put up I guess I'll call it a riddle for viewers to see. And if you think you know the answer to this riddle, just go ahead and place it in the chat. And hopefully, if you get the right answer, you will be entered into a draw that we'll have momentarily, so that you can win one of those books from Mr. Tanner. And he's going to put his signature on it, and then we're going to send it to you. So there you see it on the screen. Take some time to look at it. It says, though I seem to pass unnoticed, I leave a mark on all that I touch. I am made of moments, but I am never the same. What am I? It is a one-word answer. So you go ahead and put your answer in the chat, and hopefully we will, if you're correct, you'll be entered into a draw to win one of these. We have another one coming up shortly, so make sure you pay attention to that one as well. All right, back to you, Duke. What is the biggest lesson you have learned from being an adult in custody?
That I learned in custody, or that I learned in life, period?
What is the biggest lesson you learned from your time as an adult in custody?
I like to pray, man. I like to pray. I like to pray, and I have faith. Like, my faith was surrounded off of my prayers. That's the best way I can say it. But my prayers were surrounded off of my faith. I feel like everything that I prayed for, it came to me. And it might didn't come when I wanted it, but it came. And my faith allowed me to think big, and my prayers was getting answered. So faith and prayer, man, that's what I learned. So those are the most two important things that really saved me. That was the times that the faith gave me the thing to see the things that I couldn't see. So that kept me with hope. That kept hope alive. That kept me alive. And my prayers brought me peace. So
thank you. Prayer is definitely important. And as I read your book and you shared your different experiences, I could only think that prayer was definitely at the top of the list of how you were able to maneuver and, just as you said before, get through that experience without being harmed or doing anything to yourself, because that type of environment, as you know, everybody can't endure it. Everybody don't come out on top. It takes a certain type of thing to get you through it. And God is definitely number one. If you don't believe in God, I'm sorry. I don't know what else to say.
Right.
But I know some people say a higher power, or some people have other faiths. But if you believe in God and you pray, I know that that's what got you through. Because I can only imagine hearing a life sentence and then, like you said, thinking I'll never get to see my son grow up, I'll never get to see my parents again, my friends again, whatever. And I would imagine only prayer could get a person through that. So thank you for that. We do have, I put a link in, so for viewers that might, I'll take 1 or 2 viewers and I'll pull you up on the stage if you have a question to ask Mr. Tanner or myself, or a statement about your takeaway from the show tonight. So I will only pick 1 or 2 people. So if you click on the link that you saw me drop in the chat, once we get to that part, I will pull you up. I just ask that you keep your question or statement brief and be respectful, so that we can make sure we stay within the time frame. Did we get any? I want to see. I want to know how that riddle went. How well, I think it was flashed 2 times on the screen. So we won't. It looked like we only have 1 entry. So we'll flash it up again, and hopefully we will get a couple people to answer that correctly. We got 2 books to give away. So if you're out there, try your hand at it and see if you get the correct answer. Type it in the chat. All right, so we have a guest standing backstage. We're going to pull him up. We're going to add Alan Wilson to the stage, and there you are. So welcome. Can you hear us?
Oh, yes, I can hear you.
We can't see your face, so we ask you to go somewhere where we can actually see who you are, and then you can ask your question or make a statement about tonight's show. We can see you. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. Well, I just want to say congratulations to you, sir, for making it this far. Wonderful testimony of how God has brought you through. I just had a few questions to ask of you, considering many things that you have been through, and what's next that you see that God has on His agenda for your life. And the other question is, do you think that there are too many African American, particularly males, that are in the federal prison system? And if along that, if you can, why not, or those things, because that seems to be a social an issue, a question that comes up periodically, particularly during election times and those type of issues, depending, especially when other social things happen in our society. Somebody gets shot, or an African American male gets shot, or those type of things. All
right. Well, the prison question I'll answer first. Of course, it's too many of us in there. But I don't really wish, these long sentences on no one. It's something that I want to work with the administration with. This administration, with the new administration that's coming aboard, it's a Trump administration, who let me out. He passed the First Step Act, which let go over 30-some thousand people that people don't really know about because it's not being on the forefront. I believe if the system, and I mean in the courts, will honor the First Step Act, a lot of more men will be out. I believe that the Trump administration will allow the First Step Act to be honored more. And by being so many blacks in there, a lot more will be let out. I believe that the 94 crime bill caused a lot of us to be locked up and to get those life sentences. And the reason why was because there was so many prisons being built. And they was taking a lot of the leaders, the real leaders, off the streets. And it's like medication. I was telling the guy before, this is how the system is. If you're dying, if you feeling like you got a cold or anything, and you go to the doctor gonna diagnose you with some medication. And if they give you the right doses, you'll go home and you take the medicine and you'll be well. If they give you too low of a dose, you're gonna have to come back, and they're gonna have to give you a stronger dose. But if they give you too strong of a dose, they can either kill you or leave you with some type of disability. That's what's going on in the system. A guy should come in and get 5 years. They give him 55 years. What is it for him to do but lose his mind and have a disability? And by the grace of God, my situation was five. I could have got 5 years and I got 2 double life sentences. But by the grace of God, I was covered in Jesus' blood and I didn't have no disability, and it didn't kill me. It actually made me stronger. Um, So that's what's going on. And we as the people on the outside, we need to be in tune with our people that's in the inside. We need to really start finding out what's going on inside these federal and state prisons, and making sure that they're getting the right programming, the right things that us taxpayers pay our money for. So therefore these men and women can come home and help not only themselves but their families as well. And I put that for all races, because it's a lot of great men that's great fathers, great sons, and it ain't about the color of their skin, but no one is outnumbering us in the system. So
Amen.
that's it's crazy, and a lot of people are locked up. I know guys that I talk to right now to still this day that got life in prison for marijuana, and marijuana is being legal in most of our states. I mean,
Mhm.
it makes no sense to me. And to answer your other question about what's next, some of those things is next. I'm pushing with the administration. And I won't lie, a lot of the people with the Trump administration, they are not willing to talk to me. They are actually asking me, what do, I think this can be better. Matt Whitaker, the former Attorney General, I was able to meet him, and he was a former prosecutor that used to give out, during the 100-to-1 crack area, to where, you was getting 100-to-1 times for crack cocaine and powder cocaine. Who you thought was dealing the crack cocaine? The black people was. So therefore, he handed down some hard sentences, and he realized that didn't fix the problem. So therefore, when they thought it was a war on drugs, it really wasn't. So
Yeah.
therefore, that was just a scam to fill the prisons up. But that's on the political side. But my thing is, like I told Matt, we don't need to worry about. Let's stop trying to make the laws to change the time. Let's work on self wellness to make our black men start going to jail. Let's start putting them in places and bringing those guys home to be fathers, or helping them become fathers behind the wall, so they can teach their children the right way and letting them be involved in their lives. Let's start working on fatherhood. So therefore we can have a father in the home, to whether, if this not your child or not, it might be the next door neighbor child that he don't got a father, and you can give him the right thing, and
Mhm.
you could teach him the right way and show him by example. So therefore, it won't be so many of us going in there. So those are some of the things that I'm working on right now. And like I said, the community development. I'm gonna make a name for myself, and I want to be known as one of the best community developers in the United States of America. To where when someone need a new community built, they're gonna call Legacy Impact, and we're gonna go build that community. We're gonna make it to where they have a hospital there, a grocery store. We have all these things in our community, and our community gonna be based off love. That's a goal that I got.
Well, thank you.
All right. Thank you for that answer. Thank you. Thank you, Alan, for coming on to the show. We appreciate your question.
Yeah.
And we got some news for you. We didn't get a winner for our first giveaway, so we're going to give you a copy of this book signed by Mr. Duke Tanner. So just make sure you send me an email with your mailing address and we will make sure you get this.
How do you spell your name, champ?
Allen Wilson, Wilson.
Okay, I got you.
All right. Thank you again. So
God bless you,
thank
champ.
you for coming on to the show.
Thank you.
And we're going to get back to we're going to wrap this up with a few more questions, and then we'll get out of here. So a few more questions. And we're discussing these last few talking points, we're going to flash one more riddle on the screen. If you can get the answer, we're going to have another book giveaway. So please give it your best. We had some participants, but unfortunately you didn't get the correct answer to the riddle. So there's a second one. If you get it, you'll automatically be entered in the draw to win Duke Got Life, signed by Duke himself. So Duke, how does it feel to go from 19-0 to 20-0?
Man, I got to win the biggest win of my life. Brother, you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, like I said, it was unexplainable, that feeling to walk out of them doors, but to hug my son on the other side is as a free man, felt even better. And to be out here with him now and doing the things that I'm doing with him, and even with my family, you know, to where we opening businesses and things like that, it's an amazing feeling, you know. So like 20-0 was the key. You know, I retired at that. I retired undefeated.
All right, undefeated. I like that. Let me see. Your son said something to the effect of he became the best version of himself, and he believes it's because he didn't have you. Not necessarily that he didn't have you, but your experience of being incarcerated. He said he believed if he did not have that experience, he might not be the young man he is today. How do you feel about that when he first said those words?
I mean, it's how I feel. It's the same thing, like I told you, the negativity that I took on seeing a parent use drugs. Maybe I would have babied him too much. Maybe he wouldn't have be able to learn how to bring that leadership out of him and make his own decisions. I probably would have babied him too much, or or maybe I'd have been too strict on him. I don't know. Only God know. But it didn't offend me or anything. Like, actually, we just had a situation that's happened. I was just on my 1-year anniversary, and I went down to see my older brother, and me and the wife, we was there, and my pastor called my son and said, "Hey, I'm baptizing people today. The Spirit led me to call you." And my son said he had been thinking about getting baptized. He gets up. He didn't tell nothing because he said that you would have been trying to maybe tell me to wait, or tell me to come back, or my mom would have wanted me to wait for you, or you would have wanted me. He said God ordered me to make a decision and go right then and there. And of course, I would have wanted to be there and be a part of it, but it was a part of him making a positive decision and God coming and talking to him, telling him, "Listen, you ain't never been baptized. You're 22 years old now. You've been reading the word. You know better. This is what you need." And on top of a pastor call you and tell you what the Spirit told him, even the pastor was just telling me, like, I just know you was going to be pulling up, but I wasn't even here. So therefore, that just shows you that leadership in him. So it's only time for me to sit back and polish him up. So it was a great thing, to hear him say that he used that bad for good.
All right. Excellent. On your way home, you talked about your ride, and you talked about cheesesteaks from Pat's.
Yeah,
I love cheesesteaks, so I'm dying to know, how was it?
man, I ain't gonna lie, I couldn't even taste it, yo. Like, I couldn't taste it. Like, I've been eating trash for so long. Like, and then I was just so excited. My godmom was there. Let her rest in peace, Miss Dina. She drove all the way there just to pick me up to say because um she was there. She did it. We met right there. We got to eat it. I had been seeing it off the Rocky movie, one of the Rocky movies. So I'm like, oh man, I gotta go there, you know. So I went there, tried it. I can't remember it, but my ride home, the the most important thing that got to me was when I saw my son, like, you know, he was inching over, steady inching over to me to lay his head on me. You know what I mean? And that was the most amazing thing in life. You know what I mean? Even though, like I said, he was turning 19 at the time. Um, but for him to lay on me and ride back together was amazing. You know what I mean? Like, I'll never forget that day. And thanks to now he was senator at the time, but now Mayor Gary Eddie Milton, he was the guy that picked me up, a childhood friend. And I told him didn't want to fly, I wanted to see different cities. And he drove all the way. I mean, he flew down there and he drove me all the way back home from Philly. And then, you know, I take my hat off to him and I thank him for that.
All right, I've got two more questions. How did your journey help you become a better brother, better father, better husband, and a better friend?
You know, first off, you know, for sure my relationship with God. And then the simple fact of I got another chance. I don't like to say second chance, but I got another chance. And having another chance, if you got any type of sense you want to do it better. And I learned patience. I learned how to be humble and I learned when to be humble. But I also learned the word no. I learned how to say no. And that's a part of saying when to be humble and when not to be humble. Um, so those things made me better for everyone because, you know, I'm gonna analyze the situation. I'm gonna pray about it. I'm gonna use my better judgment, and then I'm gonna make a decision. And sometimes those decisions gonna make me a better husband, brother, you know, father, or whatever, to where I made a decision, I'm standing on it, and that's what it is. So with that being said, you know, once again, you know, the patience, the humbleness, and just the simple fact of able to have another chance and life wanted me to be better on every level, and I didn't have no bitter, I don't have no malice in my heart. Everything is secure and real about me. So um, you want to be better for your people. And for me to make them better, I got to be better. So that's what I think about every day. And I made a vow to myself when they let me out. And, you know, I try to stand on it to where sometimes I have to call somebody and just say something nice. I said, I will always do something for somebody. I'm going to do one thing for somebody every day. To whether if I open the door for an old lady or a man or I buy somebody something or I give someone a compliment or if I just call someone and tell them I love them. I do that every day before I close my eyes.
All right, what do you want people to take away from Duke Got Life? And also, if they read it, what do you want people to take away from your book and from your journey?
I want you to go on Amazon and buy a book and read the book. I want you to read the book because it's going to teach you to never give up. But it's also going to teach you to always strive to be better the next day. So if you never give up and you strive to be better every day, just imagine what type of person you're going to be. And imagine what type of example you're going to show to so many people that's watching you. For the so many people that said you'll never be nothing, or you'll never make it out, or you'll never do that. You don't be bad, don't be negative to them. You don't do that. You just don't give up and you becoming better every day. You're showing the world what time it is. So with that being said, that's how things gotta go in life. And that's what's gonna make this world a better place. And it will make it a better place. And we have to start it with our generation. I mean with this next generation that's coming after the next one because that's what we're putting it on for. We're making it better for people today. So with that being said, that's what I would like. And Even if you just want to get the book for a kid to read to say, hey, listen, that guy wasted all his talent. He had a chance. He took a shortcut. Don't never do that. But guess what? That's a book for them to read. But you could get the same book to read to the other person that we just told you all that. Don't give up. Look, he was knocked down and out, but he got up. He kept pushing. And that's the way that it got to be. So it's two ways you can look at it. But either way you win. It's a win-win. And keep God first. And you'll never mess up.
Thank you for that, Duke. I was going to say to the young gentleman, or maybe not so young, who was thinking that their answer was to go to the streets, was to go sell drugs, or to go in a direction that they shouldn't go. I was going to say, what do you say to that person? But you already said it. Use your life as an example. You don't have to make that decision. There are other things that you can do. Learn from other people's experiences and make a different choice. I think that's what we want to say tonight to those that are out there. It may be somebody viewing it that's faced with a decision such as Duke Tanner's, or it might be some other decision. You already know what decision you have to make. And you know that I believe anyway that when we're about to make the wrong decision, we know sometimes we still do it. But we learn that whatever experience we have, like Duke said, wherever we are, use prayer and just learn from it and make sure that we do better is what we want people to take away. Learn from it, do something different, and then be a person who can empower others to make better decisions. So Duke, thank you. I want you to tell our viewers where they can find you outside of Dr. Whitty today.
Oh, well, you can go to CharlesDukeTanner.com, and you can see me on there on any social media platform. It's Duke Got Life, LinkedIn, same thing, all of those things. And make sure you go out also and check out cdtfinancialservices.com. It's a tax services for especially trying to inform all the people of the world that just don't know the different deductions and credits and different things that you are wanted to. So therefore, with this company, man, we're trying to give you these things they was given to me, and these things might stop you from making some of those bad decisions to where you want to take different shortcuts and things of that nature. And I'm always here, man. We're a winning team, man. I'm gonna give God all the praise and glory, and my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. And I thank you for having me on the show. And I pray that at least one person felt something to help them change to be better and stronger for the next day.
All right. Thank you, Duke. Those of you that are watching, you can find me at the website you see at the bottom of the screen. I'm also on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter. I think I named them all. Yeah. Dr. Whitty is the handle. You can find me out there. Tune in to other shows. We come on every other Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And this is going to be our theme for the rest of the season. Better brother, better father, better husband, better friend. I'm taking that from you, Duke. Is that okay?
Yeah, you can use it, champ. It's cool. I share.
All right. So before we leave, I just want to say, we all have gifts. We all have talents. They make room for us. But we also got to work on our character because our character is what keeps us operating effectively in that gift and in that talent. So thank everybody for tuning in. We did have one giveaway. We didn't have the second one, but we'll do these all the time on the Dr. Whitty Today show. Until next time, we just hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. All right. So we'll see you next time on Dr. Whitty Today. Thank you. Duke, stand by for the after show.
Okay, champ.
Thank you for joining us on Dr. Whitty Today. We appreciate your time, and your viewership is the heartbeat of our show. If you enjoyed this episode, hit the like button, share your thoughts in the comments, and most importantly, subscribe. Your support keeps us going, and we can't wait to have you back. So hit the notification bell to find out each time we air live. Until then, stay curious, stay inspired, stay motivated, and stay tuned.